My parents, along with my sister, were enjoying a luxurious cruise while I was sending them money every week believing they were struggling. "Honey, don't be like that, it's just a small trip, nothing special," my mother said. I canceled all payments immediately. Now they are begging me. Hi Reddit, I'm Marina. I'm 32 years old and I work in digital marketing. I don't even know why I'm writing this, but I need to get it off my chest. Because I continued in SOC. For years I sent money to my parents every week without fail. Why? Because they always told me they were struggling financially, that the bills were too high, that my dad needed medicine, and like a fool I believed them. They always put on that sad voice when they called me. "Daughter, what would we do without you? We are truly drowning." And there I was making the transfer without thinking twice. And then out of nowhere I find out they are on vacation on a luxury cruise. How did I find out? Instagram. I was at the office during my lunch break, scrolling without thinking, and suddenly I see a story from my sister Beatrice, the family favorite. First, a picture of the sea, then a huge pool on the deck of a ship, then a very expensive cocktail, and then there are my parents, my mom with sunglasses, my dad laughing with a glass of champagne in his hand, and Beatrice recording everything with her usual little voice. "Let's toast to the family," she says. I almost dropped my phone. What family? Me, who has been for years. It turns out they are on that blissful cruise. I called my mom at that very moment. "Hi, daughter," she answered in her usual tone, all calm. "Where are you?" "Oh, Marina, we didn't want to worry you. It's just that Beatrice insisted that we deserved a little break." "With what money?" Silence. "Well, we found a really good deal." "With what money?" I repeated nervously. "Honey, don't be like that. It's just a small trip, nothing special." A small trip? Me sending them money every month and them strolling on a cruise as if nothing. I hung up, opened the bank app, and canceled all automatic transfers. It's over, or so I thought. I don't know how to explain what I felt. Anger, shame, contempt. Like when you realize you've been playing a game where everyone knew the rules except you. I thought the worst was over, that the big lie was the cruise and that was it. Well, no. 2 days later, I got a message from a family friend. "Hey, did you know your parents transferred the Seville house to Beatrice's name?" I stared at the phone without understanding. What? How is the Seville house Beatrice's? Because look, that house was the reason I never stopped sending money. Years ago, my mother called me with her usual voice, the one she used when she wanted to make me feel guilty. "Daughter, we're in trouble, the house. I don't know if we can keep it." "What? Why?" I asked immediately. "The expenses, the mortgage, the maintenance, it's a lot. I don't want to sell, but I don't know what to do." "I don't want to sell it." Those words stuck with me. At that moment I was saving to buy my own apartment, but of course how could I let my house be lost? "Don't sell it," I said without thinking. "I'll help you." And that's how it all started. Years sending money thinking I was helping to save the house. I went back to the chat and wrote, "Since when?" The answer came in seconds. "Years ago, didn't you know?" My hands were shaking. It couldn't be true. I called my mother immediately. She answered instantly with a calm voice as if nothing was happening. "Daughter, what a surprise. How are you?" I didn't waste time. "Since when has the house been in Beatrice's name?" There was an uncomfortable silence. "Well, a few years ago, but daughter, understand, she had to settle in Madrid. She had so many expenses and you have your life made." My life made while I postponed trips, told myself I couldn't afford certain luxuries because I had to help. Beatrice had a house in Seville and an apartment in Madrid. I hung up without saying anything else. But the final bomb came that same afternoon. The same friend wrote me back. "You didn't know about the apartment in Madrid either, right?" I felt a knot in my stomach. "What apartment?" "The one her husband bought her. But your parents have helped her with everything. I'm telling you because every time I see her she's living like a queen, and it seems strange to me because according to your mom, you guys are barely surviving." I stared at the screen. I don't know how long I was there without moving, just trying to understand how it was possible that they had used me so much while I was saying no to things because I had to help the family. My sister had a house in Seville and an apartment in Madrid, while I was calculating before buying some simple boots. Beatrice was shopping with the money I sent for the bills. I felt an indescribable rage. I went to a bar, ordered a drink, and looked at my phone. Nobody was calling me. For the first time in my life, I didn't have to worry about anyone else. And what a surprise, how good it felt. If anyone here thinks my parents felt guilty when I found out everything. How innocent. Not even a week passed since I canceled the transfers, and I already had my mother bombarding me with calls and messages. At first I tried to ignore them, but when I saw 14 missed calls in a row, I knew she wouldn't stop. I answered. Marina, why are you doing this to us? Doing what? I asked, already tired. You left us with nothing. How are we going to pay the bills? I took a deep breath. The bills again, with the blatant lie of the bills. You mean the same bills that were actually handbags and dinners for Beatrice, or the ones that were supposedly to maintain the house that isn't even mine anymore? Silence. Discovered. But my mother doesn't give up so easily. You can't do this, Marina. We are your family. Oh right. Now we are. All those years came to mind when, for them, I wasn't family but their financial lifesaver. Like when I was 25 and I got promoted at the company. I was happy. The first thing I did was call them. Mom, I got promoted. Now I'll earn much more. Silence. Then her voice with that sweet tone that I confused with love. Much more, daughter? What joy. Because just this month the water and electricity have gone up a lot. Not even a congratulations. Not even a we're so proud of you. Just a new bill to pay. I shook my head, returning to the present. It's over, Mom, I said in a low but firm voice. Don't call me anymore to ask me. I hung up, and that's where the war began. First, the calls from relatives. Marina, your mother is very bad. She says she has nothing to eat. Hey, is it true you abandoned your parents? That's what they're saying. Even a friend of my mother wrote me. Marina, what a shame with all they've done for you. All they've done for me? What irony. Then came the attempts at emotional manipulation. Messages from my mother. Your father is sick, he can't sleep from worry. How can you be so cruel? We were always there for you. If anything happens to us, I won't get over it, it will be my fault. That phrase I had heard 1,000 times before. Like when I was 20 and they asked me to send them money because Beatrice had lost her job. Just for a few months, Marina. My mother told me. You are her sister, you have to help her. When I asked why Beatrice wasn't looking for another job, they called me selfish, heartless. And in the end, I sent the money because if anything happened to them, it would be my fault. Not this time. And the best part was that when Beatrice saw that I wasn't budging, she joined the fight. I can't believe how selfish you are, really. You are leaving our parents on the street. Our parents? What an interesting way to say the people who have been financing my life while you were killing yourself working. I replied with the only thing I had to say to her. Do you know the number of an employment agency? Because you are going to need it. Absolute silence ever since. They stopped talking to me, but I knew it wasn't the end. Not with Beatrice, because I know her, and I know that when things don't go her way, she always comes back. I knew it would happen, it was just a matter of time. After months without contact, I saw her name on my phone screen, Beatrice. I didn't answer. 5 minutes later, a message. Marina, please, I need to talk to you, it's urgent. I ignored it. I know you are upset, but I really need your help, call me. Oh, how curious, now we were family. When I needed her, she wasn't there. Like that time as children when Mom brought 2 ice creams after shopping. Beatrice and I ran to the kitchen. Mom opened the bag and took out a chocolate ice cream and a vanilla one. The chocolate one is mine, I said excitedly. It was my favorite. Mom knew, but before I could reach for it, Beatrice grabbed it. No, Marina, the chocolate one is for your sister, Mom said without hesitation. But Mom, you know it's my favorite. Marina, don't be selfish, she scolded me, sighing as if she was exhausted with me. Your sister is younger, let her choose first. It was always the same. Beatrice first, Beatrice special, Beatrice deserved the best. That day I ate my vanilla ice cream in silence, feeling it had a horrible taste. That feeling didn't leave me for years. Until now. Marina, please don't ignore me. I wanted to laugh. Oh, but when I needed something, nothing happened, right? If you ignore me. What do you need? We can talk in person. I laughed. Tell me here. It took a few minutes before she answered. My husband left me, I have no money, I'm desperate. There was the real reason she wrote to me. And your apartment in Madrid? She took a while to answer. I sold it. Didn't surprise me. Beatrice never knew how to handle money. Years living like a queen, spending without thinking. Her mistake was thinking that her husband would always support her. So you live in the house in Seville? No, Mom and Dad are there. There's no space for me. Now I understood everything. Yes, the house was hers on paper, but in practice Mom still ruled there. And if there was something I knew about Mom, it's that now that Beatrice had no money, she no longer treated her like the princess she always was. Just like when we were little and Beatrice broke a plate and I got blamed. Marina, you are the oldest, why didn't you take care of her? Beatrice was never to blame for anything. Until she stopped being useful to them. I don't know who to turn to. Mom and Dad can't help me anymore. I'm ruined. And there was the real Beatrice. She didn't write to me because she wanted to fix things with me. She didn't write to me because she was sorry. She wrote to me because she had no other choice. An incoming call rang. Beatrice. I answered. Marina, thank you for answering. Her voice sounded different, dull. Alone for the first time in her life, Beatrice had no one to save her. How much do you need? I asked point blank. Silence. I knew there was no point in pretending. I have nowhere to stay, she murmured. I can't pay rent. I have no job. Go back to our parents' house. I can't live with them, she blurted out desperately. The house is mine. Yes, but you know how Mom is. Oh, now you realize. Now you know what it feels like to be on the other side, for Mom to treat you like a nuisance, to make you feel like you never do enough. Years ago I lived the same thing when I moved out on my own and barely had enough money to pay the rent. I called home looking for support. Mom, I'm struggling with money this month. Well, daughter, you're an adult now, she said with that indifferent voice. Learn to organize yourself. Learn to organize yourself. Words she never said to Beatrice. Now Beatrice understood how it felt. I don't know. Help me a little, just until I get stable. Oh, how curious. Now we were sisters. Now we were family. Beatrice, do you remember when I was 20 and asked them for help with university? Marina, please. And when I had problems with the rent and Mom told me she had no money, but 2 days later they went on a trip with you? It's not the same, she blurted out on the verge of tears. We're sisters. I laughed. Yes, Beatrice, we're sisters when it suits you. Don't be like that. I don't have money for those things, I said, repeating the same words they said to me years ago. Silence. I could imagine her on the other side of the line, her mouth open, not knowing what to say. For the first time in her life, someone was telling her no. And I hung up. She didn't call me back, but I'm sure that on the other side of the phone she finally understood what it felt like to be invisible. After hanging up on Beatrice, I waited. I don't know why. Maybe I expected another message, another call, that she would come back with another story, another excuse, that she would try to manipulate me again, as she always did. But nothing happened. Beatrice disappeared and my parents too. When they stopped taking my money, I ceased to exist for them. At first it was strange after so many years with them always on top, asking, demanding, manipulating. The silence seemed almost unreal. For weeks, I had that absurd feeling that at any moment the calls would ring again, that Mom would make another attempt with her dramatic voice, that Beatrice would invent some story to make me feel guilty. But no, nothing. And it didn't take me long to find out what happened next. Beatrice stayed at the house in Seville, but not as she imagined. Yes, her name was on the papers, but the house was still Mom and Dad's in practice. And if there was something Mom knew how to do well, it was to make someone feel like a nuisance. For years, Beatrice was the princess, the untouchable one. The one who had it all without lifting a finger. But now that she had no money or husband to support her, she was no longer useful. One day, in the middle of dinner, Mom made it clear. We need you to contribute to the expenses. Beatrice dropped her fork on her plate. But Mom, the house is mine. Mom let out a dry laugh. You really? She looked at her mockingly. We paid for the house. If it weren't for us, you'd be on the street. They had told me the same thing, only in my case I did leave. But Beatrice had nowhere to go. She never thought she would be in this situation. She tried to find another husband, someone to rescue her from her ruin, but she no longer had the same shine as before. With no money, no status, no luxuries, she had nothing to offer. The friends she had when she lived in Madrid disappeared because, of course, no one is interested in a ruined Beatrice. She ended up looking for a job, something she had never had to do in her life. She didn't last in any of them. She didn't know what it was like to take orders, She didn't know what it was like to wake up early. And best of all, she couldn't complain because if she did, Mom would remind her how much they had sacrificed for her. Dad, on the other hand, faded away. He never made decisions in that house. He just let himself be carried away by Mom and Beatrice. But when the money stopped coming, when everything started to fall apart, he realized he had nothing. He always believed that having a family meant that someone would be there for him when he needed them. But he was wrong. When he had health problems, Mom complained about the cost of his medication. Beatrice did nothing. I soon began to receive messages from some cousins and acquaintances. Marina, your father is ill, you should talk to him. Marina, I know things got out of control, but they are still your family. Mom says you should swallow your pride and come home. I deleted the messages without reading the rest. They had nothing to tell me that mattered. Mom tried to contact me, first indirectly with Facebook posts about ungrateful children and the punishment of forgetting the family, then with direct messages. Marina, are you really going to do this to us? I can't believe you are so cruel. Eventually you will realize that your family is the only thing you have. I smiled, deleted the message and went on with my day. I moved, rented an apartment in Alicante with a sea view. Something I always wanted but never allowed myself because, first you have to help the family. I traveled. Italy, Greece, Portugal, years postponing them because it wasn't the right time. Now the time was whenever I wanted. I opened my own business. I was scared, but for the first time I made a decision thinking only of myself. And I met someone. His name is Alejandro. We met at an entrepreneur's event and the first thing he said to me was, "You have something on your face." I touched myself, confused. "What?" "A beautiful smile," he said, smiling. Damn seducer. I had never been with someone who treated me well without me having to earn it before. Love always felt like something I had to deserve. Like when I was a child and did everything to get Mom to give me a little attention. But Beatrice always ended up taking it away. With Alejandro, I simply was, without effort, without struggle. One day, while we were having coffee on the terrace, he looked at me and said, "You are the strongest person I have ever met." I laughed. "Why?" "Because you managed to get out of a family that never valued you. Not everyone can do that." I was silent. I hadn't thought of it that way. I left and didn't look back. For the first time in my life, my money was mine, my time was mine, my life was mine, and I don't regret it for a second. Latest update, responding to the comments. Well, Didi, it seems this story exploded more than I expected. I don't know how many are going to read this, but I wanted to answer some things. First, thanks to everyone who wrote to me saying that my story inspired them. It wasn't easy, it wasn't something I did overnight. There were nights when I felt like the worst person in the world, when I almost gave in, when I wanted to write to my parents and tell them, "It's okay, I'll help you." Because even though I know they are manipulative, even though I know they used me all my life, they are still my parents. And no matter how much they hurt us, there is always that part inside of us that seeks their approval, that wants them to love us too. We look in the mirror and think, what if I really am a bad person? We are raised with the idea that family is the most important thing. They teach us that no matter what happens, you have to be there for them. But what they never tell us is that not every family deserves that sacrifice. Breaking with that hurts. Having said that, I also saw a lot of comments attacking me. How cruel you are. In the end, they are your parents, they gave you life. Yes, they gave me life and made sure to make me feel that I owed them every second of it. Because for them it wasn't a gift, it was a debt. From the moment I got my first paycheck, it was no longer mine. From the moment I started working, I already had responsibilities that didn't correspond to me. Raising a child shouldn't become a lifelong debt, but an act of unconditional love. It's a transaction and I'm sorry, but I didn't sign that contract. You should have helped your sister, she was desperate. Oh yeah, and where was she when I needed her? When I asked her for help, she made fun of me. When they gave her everything, she never thought of sharing it with me. When life smiled at her, she never stopped to ask if I was okay. But now that she's lost it, she remembered that I'm her sister. No, it doesn't work that way. You can't remember you have a family only when it's convenient. You are selfish. Yes, and I'm glad I am. Because for all my life I was the good daughter, the one who never said no, the one who always put others first. And what did I get? Years of sacrifices that were worthless, years of feeling inadequate, years believing I had to try harder, that if I just gave a little more they would finally see me. The day I cut them off, the day I chose to live for myself, was the day I finally breathed. And for the first time, I didn't feel guilty. So yes, call me selfish, cold, bad daughter, I don't care. Because at the end of the day, when I close my eyes and think about my life now, the freedom I have, the weight I took off my back, I only feel peace. And that, for the first time in my life, belongs only to me.